All right, welcome to question 28 of the AAMC preview practice exam. And let us jump into the scenario. All right, you and a classmate volunteer at a health clinic where you both commit to several shifts during a month. Your classmate tells you they are particularly busy with school obligations over the next few weeks and are struggling to balance all of their responsibilities. Your classmate asks if you can cover their 4-hour shift at the clinic this weekend. You do not have any conflicting obligations, but this is your first weekend with a break in the last couple of months. All right, what's the main problem here? Your classmate is asking for you to cover their shift as they are particularly busy the next few weeks and feel overworked, but it's your first weekend off in a while. All right, so, just reading this question, it's important to recognize that we don't have any conflicting obligations, but this is, although it's our first weekend off, we really should be trying to help our classmate, right? While also keeping in mind, we do deserve a break also. But all right, so let's jump into 28.1. All right, ask your classmate if they would be willing to swap shifts for a time when they are less busy. Okay, so swapping shifts, just in case you're not entirely sure what that means, it means that we're going to cover their shift this upcoming weekend, and in return, they will cover one of our shifts down the line. So, let's go back to our initial differentiation. And this second question here really, I think we can use it for this problem. And let's start with it. If we need to, we can, jump into some more of these or even add another one potentially. But at least for now, let's see the second one because it has been quite reliable thus far, right? Are you taking steps to address or resolve the main problem here? Well, very clearly we are, right? We're offering a solution that will allow our classmate to have their shift covered. Very clearly we are addressing that part of the problem, right? So I'm gonna triage this into a 3 or a 4. So how do we differentiate a 3 and a 4? Well, this first question here is quite relevant, right? Because we are finding a very good compromise for the problem. Because not only is the classmate having their shift covered, but we are recognizing the importance of getting a break for our own schedule, and we are finding a compromise where both of those things can happen. Our classmates shift can be covered, and also we can have a break that down the line also. And if we look at how are we impacting any relevant stakeholders, well, there are two stakeholders here, right? Us and our classmate, and both of our needs are being addressed and fulfilled quite strongly. Furthermore, even though it might seem like we're burdening the classmate by having them cover one of our shifts in the future, although that's somewhat true, it's still also very understandable and fair to swap shifts, right? It's not like we're overly burdening them outside of what could be required of their responsibilities, and this is still a very fair response. It's of course very compassionate, right? We are giving up this weekend in order to help our classmates, and prioritizing teamwork, we are doing that also. And very importantly, this is a very tangible and specific step, right? That really allows us to take a very guided approach to how to resolve the situation. All of that's gonna make this into a 4 answer, a very effective answer. Very clear step that's gonna improve the situation, resolve this main conflict here. All right. 28.2. Tell your classmate that it is only fair that everyone completes their own shifts. All right, so let's ask, are we taking steps to address or resolve the main problem, right? That's our question we're going to use to make our initial differentiation. Are you taking steps to address or resolve the main problem? Very clearly, we are not here, right? We're not taking steps to help our classmate to resolve this conflict. Moreover, what we're doing is we are, and that's going to make this either a 1 or 2 response, right? And if we go to differentiating a 1 or a 2, well, very clearly we're being rude, right? We're being dismissive. We are, they're coming to us for help and we are totally not helping them and being rude. Moreover, we're prioritizing our needs over the needs of others. We're prioritizing the need, our want for a break over their needs of, and their ask. And we're totally disengaging from the problem, right? We're not offering any type of solution here. Totally disengaging. And on top of that, being rude. This is going to be a one answer for sure. All right. It's going to be very, very ineffective. All right, 28.3. Decline the shift, but ask your classmate if there's anything else you can do to help with their other obligations. All right, so are we taking steps to address or resolve the main problem? In my mind, we are doing that somewhat, right? The good part about this response is that we're offering to help in another capacity, right? We are offering to help. However, the negative of this response is we're declining the shift, we're declining to cover their shift, and we're not really taking steps to really figure out a solution to this conflict, right? That's gonna make this, in my mind, we're doing some good things, we're doing some bad things. This can be either a 2 or a 3 response. All right, so how do you differentiate between a 2 and a 3? Well, these are some of the questions we've asked so far, and if we go through them, how are we offering a solution to the main problem, right? In this first question of personal responsibility, I'd say it doesn't offer too much. It doesn't offer too much evidence here, whether it's one or the other. We are offering to help in some other way. Someone taking personal responsibility, but very clearly, though, if we ask, are we offering a solution to the main problem? We're not offering a solution to the main problem, right? Because the classmate wants their shift covered and asks us to have their shift covered, and we are declining that. We're declining to do that and not offering any other type of solution that would assist them in having their shift covered, right? For that reason, we can definitely tell that this is going to be a 1 response because it's not addressing the issue of our classmates. The main problem is the classmate is asking us to cover their shift, and although this could help in another capacity, it's not helping the core of this problem, right? It's not helping the core of this problem. And yeah, it's just not a solution that's going to be effective, going to make the situation better. All right, 28.4. Decline. Okay, so we're seeing the word decline again. Decline and suggest your classmate contact their supervisor to ask if they can have the day off. All right, so are we taking steps to address or resolve the main problem? Well, in my mind, we are falling into a similar line of thinking as we did the last question, right? Some good things is that we are offering a solution in some capacity, right? We're telling the classmate to take the step that could help their situation, but we are also declining to have their shift covered, or sorry, we're declining to cover their shift, and so it's not really addressing and making, offering some type of solution to this main problem, right? I'm gonna put this into a 2 or 3. It's doing some good things, some bad things. So differentiating a 2 and a 3. Well, this first kind of question comes into play again, and a bit more strongly in this response. Are we taking personal responsibility for solving the problem? Well, we're telling our classmate to do something, right? We're not the ones that are taking that responsibility as strongly to find a solution, right? Like, we're not the ones talking to a supervisor, or that personal responsibility isn't there as strongly. But if we jump back to, are we offering a solution to the main problem? Here we are not offering a solution to the main problem, right? Because if you read this carefully, we are telling our classmate to ask the supervisor for a day off. Now, if you go back to the prompt, in the prompt, our classmate is, where we both are committed to shifts, right? We both commit to several shifts during the week, so asking for a day off might be harder because we've already committed 2 shifts. And also, the classmate isn't asking for a day off, right? They want their shift covered. And what that kind of tells us is, if it might be a bit tougher to get a day off, right? And that might not be the solution that they're looking for. And that might not be particularly possible with this type of volunteer commitment, right? So asking for a day off is not as direct of a solution, right? And because it's not a solution that, first of all, the classmate asked us to cover their shift, right? And we're telling them to contact the supervisor for a day off. That combined with the hints in this prompt where we are committed to shifts gives me the impression that this is not a solution that's going to be effective in allowing our classmate to resolve this issue, but rather it's going to be ineffective. It's not going to be able to help them in this situation, right? That combined with the fact that we're not taking personal responsibility and we're not offering a solution to the main problem of our classmates' shift being covered, this is, in my mind, very clearly an ineffective solution. All right. (28.5) Addressing. All right. Let your classmate know you will cover their shift if they cannot find a replacement volunteer. All right, so let's ask, are we taking steps to address or resolve the main problem, right? Very clearly, we are doing that. Definitely much more strongly than the last 2 responses we have seen, because we're saying, we're giving a very clear answer that, hey, we can cover your shift, right? That this is a very direct solution to this main problem of our classmate needing their shift covered. Right, so differentiating between a 3 and a 4. Well, this first question comes to mind again, right? Are we finding a compromise for the problem? Very clearly, we are finding a compromise, right? Because we're saying to the classmate, try to find someone else, because we do want to protect our weekend if we can. So we're asking them to, if they can find someone else to cover their shift, that would, be beneficial, because both our classmate would have their shift covered and we would be able to have the weekend off. But if that is not possible, we will cover their shift. This compromise allows, if you look at the second question also, how are we impacting the relevant stakeholders? Well, not only is our classmate going to be ensured that their shift is going to be covered and that, that's very compassionate and we're helping them, but also we are at least attempting to protect our own time. And for that reason, it's a good compromise. All the stakeholders' needs are being addressed. We're also being very compassionate and trying to help our classmate. This is also going to be a very effective answer. All right. So that kind of concludes scenario 28. I know question 3 and 4 were a little bit tougher. So if you want me to expand on them at all, just let me know in the comments. I'd be more than happy to answer any comments. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Please like and comment and subscribe if you can. And yeah, I will see y'all for question 29.